Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining Lewis University's television network. Today is Wednesday, October 16, 2019. I'm Luis Chavez.
And I'm Mayette Lloyd.
And we begin with our top international and national stories. Pope Francis's bodyguard resigned after a financial document was leaked from an ongoing investigation. The document contained details of 5 Vatican employees who were suspended for financial mishandling, though chief bodyguard of the Pope, Domenico Gianni, claims no wrongdoing in the incident. The person who leaked the document hasn't come forward. Pope Francis shared his appreciation for the service Gianni provided even in his resignation. Gianni served Pope John Paul II and Pope Benedict XVI, as well as the current Pope.
The search continues to find survivors after a building collapsed in Fortaleza, Brazil on Tuesday. The 7-story building has left many trapped and at least 1 dead after the building collapsed under unknown circumstances. Authorities are trying to search through the rubble by listening for noises. Tuesday's incident adds to a recent list of buildings collapsing in Brazil, including one that occurred in June. 10 survivors have been found along with an unidentified body. The rescue operation is expected to last for days.
13 police officers were killed during a cartel ambush on Monday in Michoacan, Mexico. According to a statement from the Michoacan state prosecutor, 5 police vehicles were traveling through Aguililla in the early morning when they were ambushed by more than 30 armed vehicles who opened fire with high-caliber weapons. Security forces found officers with bullet wounds and 2 of their vehicles on fire at the scene of the crime. Posters were left on the vehicles with the letters CJNG, which are the initials of the Jalisco New Generation Cartel. The CJNG, who are believed to be led by Ruben Oseguera Cervantes, have previously challenged police authority by shooting down a military helicopter in 2015 and posting videos with uniformed gunmen carrying military-style weaponry and equipment. The Mexican government has been at war with drug traffickers since 2006, with cartels fighting each other at the same time over control of the territory. In 2018, there were more than 33,000 homicides in Mexico, and 2019 is on course to exceed that number.
Anti-Semitic posters were found on the door of a synagogue in Michigan this Sunday. Rabbi Michael discovered the posters Sunday morning around 8 a.m. One poster had a picture of Hitler asking, "Did you forget about me?" Another read, "A crusade against subhumans." The Yorkshire Division, a neo-Nazi group, is credited for the posters. No arrests have been made at this time.
3 employees in a North Carolina assisted living facility are being accused of encouraging elderly residents to fight one another, with one case of a resident being assaulted. One employee is being investigated for physically shoving a resident. All 3 employees were fired immediately and are scheduled to appear in court November 14th. The facility hasn't been allowed to admit new patients since August because conditions were determined to be unsafe. Coming up next, we'll take a look into leading local headlines.
And later, we have the latest entertainment news. Stay with us.
So who's going to do what?
I'll pack the dead batteries.
Great.
I'll only put what I don't need into a duffel bag.
Perfect. That's totally unhelpful.
No problem.
Meanwhile, I will try to comfort everyone by speaking in a calm voice. And who is going to handle supplies?
I can forget to do a list for us.
Thanks, pal.
We couldn't be any less prepared. I'm proud of you guys.
Talk to your kids about who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Visit ready.gov/kids for tips and information.
You know what, guys? There's a lot of tree branches and dry brush over here. We should probably move the bonfire over there.
I'm guessing Smokey liked that idea.
Don't let E. coli mosh with your food. An estimated 3,000 Americans die from a foodborne illness each year. You can't see these microbes, but they might be there. So always separate raw meat from vegetables. Keep your family safe at foodsafety.gov.
Passengers on board Southwest Flight 4448 were rattled Monday morning after a malfunction set off an emergency response. The sound of a tire blowing out could be heard as the plane landed at Midway Airport around 9 a.m. The plane experienced a hydraulic issue following landing and had to turn off the runway and stop short of the terminal building. One passenger said they were greeted by the fire department as they deplaned via air stairs on the runway. Despite being a little shaken up, no one was injured in the landing. That aircraft has been towed off of the runway into the hangar where it is now out of service pending a maintenance review.
Tomorrow, Chicago Public Schools will be closed due to the Chicago Teachers Union going on strike. The union says there's been some progress, although not enough, on issues of class size and staffing, specifically more nurses, librarians, and social workers. A meeting of CTU's House of Delegates is scheduled to meet at 4:45 p.m., and a strike could be authorized at that time. The strike threat is also a big concern for student athletes because it would force practices and games to be canceled. Mayor Lori Lightfoot said they're continuing to negotiate with the Chicago Teachers Union.
A Chicago man who killed 5 of his neighbors over the weekend left cryptic notes on his door suggesting he was planning an act of violence. The man, Christoph Merrick, shot a woman in the back of her head as she was running outside of the apartment building, then moved on to shoot 4 of his neighbors on Saturday while they were eating dinner. During a hearing in Cook County Circuit Court on Monday, prosecutors said they found 2 threatening notes taped to his apartment door that were written in Merrick's native Polish language. According to police, Merrick had previously confronted his neighbors over petty matters, including yelling at a woman because he felt she was walking too loudly on the floor above his apartment. After the shootings, Merrick put a .40 caliber handgun down on his coffee table before walking out of his building and confessing to the police that he was the one they were looking for. Merrick faces 5 counts of first-degree murder with no chance of bond, as the judge has ordered for him to remain jailed.
I recently had the opportunity to sit down with Lewis men's lacrosse coach Joe Peruzzi, and we talked about what it's like to build a program from the ground up, as well as his goals for the season. If you want to check out the full interview, make sure to visit LUTN on YouTube or our link on Instagram.
On a lighter note, Lewis professor Dr. George Miller held a distressor event for students across the campus involving goats and yoga. Here's Reed Poland with more on the event.
Let's come down, put our hands in front of us and do Sphinx. Just like this, just very gentle.
Lewis University had some unusual visitors on campus today. Professor George Miller invited Blue Sky Farm Yoga to join his philosophy students and any others who were interested. Not your typical day on campus.
Come up and push back into down facing dog. It's very therapeutic for the students, very therapeutic for me, and it works. My 2 favorite things, yoga and goats.
Students could participate in 4 sessions on Wednesday, and some of the goats took to some students in particular.
I think it was fun. It was enjoyable. It's a little extra weight to you, but I don't know. It can be fun with yoga.
Okay, you're good. You got this. That's why you signed the waiver. It's all good.
Hey, goats.
For LUTN TV News, I'm Reed Poland.
Thank you for that report, Reed.
I think that's really amazing that Lewis University has a program, especially during midterm week, where students can go and de-stress with the goats. That's something I never would have thought of.
Yes, so cute. Goats and yoga. I'd love to have tried that.
Goats and yoga. Next time we got to show up.
We do.
When we return, we have your day's top entertainment headlines.
And later, we'll take a look at our 5-day forecast. Stay with us.
So who's going to do what?
I'll pack the dead batteries.
Great.
I'll only put what I don't need into a duffel bag.
Perfect. That's totally unhelpful.
No problem.
Meanwhile, I will try to comfort everyone by speaking in a calm voice. And who is going to handle supplies?
I can forget to do a list for us.
Thanks, pal.
We couldn't be any less prepared. I'm proud of you guys.
Talk to your kids about who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Visit ready.gov/kids for tips and information.
You know what, guys? There's a lot of tree branches and dry brush over here. We should probably move the bonfire over there.
I'm guessing Smokey liked that idea.
Don't let E. coli mosh with your food. An estimated 3,000 Americans die from a foodborne illness each year. You can't see these microbes, but they might be there. So always separate raw meat from vegetables. Keep your family safe at foodsafety.gov.
Cuba Gooding Jr. pled not guilty as his arraignment in Manhattan criminal court on Tuesday for 2 additional charges in his New York sex abuse case. The new charges include forcible touching and sexual abuse in the 3rd degree, stemming from a second accuser who claimed Gooding pinched her buttocks without her consent and made sexually suggestive remarks last October. Now, there is a 4-count indictment against Gooding, which includes the 2 previous misdemeanors: forcible touching and sex abuse in the 3rd degree. The Joker, the gruesome R-rated film about the origins of the Batman villain, had a big second weekend topping the box office with an estimated $55 million in North America. Joker has made $543 million worldwide so far and could continue to build momentum as Hollywood heads further into award season. The film, which stars Joaquin Phoenix as a troubled man who turned into a killer clown, shattered records last weekend when it opened to $96 million, the record for the highest grossing in the history of October. The film's controversial depiction of violence didn't stop audiences from going to see it during its opening weekend, and it appears the buzz hasn't worn off. The film won the Venice Film Festival's top prize, and critics have raved about Phoenix's performance, which had led to Oscar talk. NBC News President Noah Oppenheim says former employee Ronan Farrow is engaged in an effort to defame NBC News. Oppenheim says Farrow is clearly motivated not by a pursuit of truth, but an axe to grind. And he says Farrow's new book, Catch and Kill, is built on a series of distortions, confused timelines, and outright inaccuracies. Farrow, meanwhile, says NBC is putting out lies. The dispute centers on Farrow's account of a corporate cover-up at NBC regarding Harvey Weinstein. In Catch and Kill, which comes out next Tuesday, Farrow alleges that the network's own secrets weighed on the judgments of his reporting, noting that some high-ranking executives have skeletons in their own closets. Oppenheim denies all allegations.
So obviously these are very serious allegations. How do you think this will affect NBC?
Well, I feel since this book is coming out soon with facts and statistics, it's going to definitely cause a lot of controversy and definitely cause problems for NBC, but I don't think it's going to stay for long. It will eventually blow over. They're just trying to stay under the radar right now.
Right. Well, we'll have to see how that develops further. Coming up next, we have your full 5-day forecast. And later, we'll have a look at sports. Stay tuned.
So who's going to do what?
I'll pack the dead batteries.
Great.
I'll only put what I don't need into a duffel bag.
Perfect. That's totally unhelpful.
No problem.
Meanwhile, I will try to comfort everyone by speaking in a calm voice. And who is going to handle supplies?
I can forget to do a list for us.
Thanks, pal.
We couldn't be any less prepared. I'm proud of you guys.
Talk to your kids about who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Visit ready.gov/kids for tips and information.
You know what, guys? There's a lot of tree branches and dry brush over here. We should probably move the bonfire over there.
I'm guessing Smokey liked that idea.
Don't let E. coli mosh with your food. An estimated 3,000 Americans die from a foodborne illness each year. You can't see these microbes, but they might be there. So always separate raw meat from vegetables. Keep your family safe at foodsafety.gov.
Welcome back to Lewis University's television network. I am Carl Zahn with your weather. Right now in Romeoville, Illinois, we are looking at 51 degrees and cloudy with a little bit of wind coming through at 16 miles per hour to the north. For our local temperatures up in Madison, Wisconsin, we're looking at 51 degrees. Down in Kankakee, 52. Same in Valparaiso. A little colder in Michigan City at 48 and 48 also in Grand Rapids. For our national temperatures up in Seattle, Washington, we're looking at 57 degrees. Just a little while ago, they got 2 feet of snow up in Bismarck, but they're up to 50 degrees, so probably that snow is probably melting by now. 66 in Dallas, 87 in Sarasota, 58 in Boston. For our national radar, it looks like those storms that we were seeing on Monday, Weather News report with Jackie, have moved up into the eastern coast with Washington and New York. But in the Chicago area, it seems pretty clear, just a little bit of cloud coverage. For our local radar, a lot of cloud coverage, but no storms to be worried about for the next few days until we get into our weekend. For Almanac for today, a high of 54 and a low of 44, just a little colder than our normal temperatures, a high of 62 and a low of 43. Records today, high 87 and a low of 28 in 1991. For our 5-day forecast, tomorrow we're looking at a high of 55 and a low of 37, mostly sunny. Those temperatures are going to kind of rise on Friday to 61 and a low of 45, drop again to get those PM showers on Saturday with a high of 59 and a low of 44, but pick right back up on Sunday for a high of 65 and a low of 54, partly cloudy. Remember to keep up with LUTN weather on Facebook and Twitter. Now back to Mayette at the desk.
All right, Carl, thank you so much for that update. Stay tuned for sports next.
So who's going to do what?
I'll pack the dead batteries.
Great.
I'll only put what I don't need into a duffel bag.
Perfect. That's totally unhelpful.
No problem.
Meanwhile, I will try to comfort everyone by speaking in a calm voice. And who is going to handle supplies?
I can forget to do a list for us.
Thanks, pal.
We couldn't be any less prepared. I'm proud of you guys.
Talk to your kids about who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Visit ready.gov/kids for tips and information.
You know what, guys? There's a lot of tree branches and dry brush over here. We should probably move the bonfire over there.
I'm guessing Smokey liked that idea.
Don't let E. coli mosh with your food. An estimated 3,000 Americans die from a foodborne illness each year. You can't see these microbes, but they might be there. So always separate raw meat from vegetables. Keep your family safe at foodsafety.gov.
Welcome back to LUTN. I'm Matt Mohan. We are only 2 weeks away from the tip-off of the men's basketball season. The Flyers had an incredible run last year, finishing 25-6 and making the national tournament. It will be a tall task to match last year's output, as the Flyers' top 2 scorers from this past season have both graduated. The GLVC's preseason coaches poll predicts that the Flyers will drop to number 6 in the conference standings after finishing with the best record last year. However, the Flyers have had a knack for outperforming expectations in the past. The first game for Lewis is November 1st against the University of Illinois. On Saturday afternoon, the cross-country teams hosted the Lewis Crossover right here in Romeoville. The meet was the largest Division II only meet in the nation and featured 6 nationally ranked teams. Cassidy Learn was the top finisher for the Lewis women, and Anthony Pena was the top finisher for the men. Flyer Cross Country will now have to gear up for the GLVC Conference Championships on October 26th in Evansville, Indiana. Last Saturday, we witnessed the first big upset of the year in college football. Unranked South Carolina went on the road to Sanford Stadium and took down the mighty Georgia Bulldogs in an overtime nail-biter. The game was decided on the final play when Georgia kicker Rodrigo Blankenship missed his first field goal of the year. The 20-17 loss drops Georgia from 3rd all the way to 10th in the national rankings. Clemson is now ranked 3rd, LSU moves up to 2nd, and the Alabama Crimson Tide remain as the top-ranked team in the nation. Now for briefs, the Chicago Blackhawks got their first win of the season in impressive fashion over the Edmonton Oilers on Monday night. Patrick Kane, Brandon Saad, and newcomer Alex Nylander scored for the Hawks in the 3-1 win. The Hawks improved to 1-2-1 on the season and will face the Columbus Blue Jackets on Friday night at the United Center. The Chicago Bears have placed star defensive lineman Akeem Hicks on injured reserve after he suffered a dislocated elbow in their last game. This means Hicks will be forced to miss at least the next 8 games. Thankfully, another D lineman, Bilal Nichols, looks like he will return to action this week as he rehabs from a broken hand. This will give the Bears a much-needed boost up front as they head into their critical Week 7 matchup with the New Orleans Saints. In the MLB, the Washington Nationals advanced to their first World Series in franchise history after defeating the St. Louis Cardinals 7-4 last night. Who they'll be facing is still up in the air. The Houston Astros currently hold a 2-1 lead over the New York Yankees in the best-of-7 ALCS. The Astros took the win last night on the back of their ace, Garrett Cole, who has not lost a start since May. That's all for sports. I'm Matt Mohan. Now back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks for that update, Matt. That's it for today's news. Thank you for watching. As a reminder, you can always keep up with Lewis News on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and by visiting our website, charliemedia.press. I'm Luis Chavez.
I'm Mayette Lloyd.
I'm Aaron Ostrowski with entertainment.
I'm Carl Zahn with weather.
Have a great night.